Let me do it full screen. Social cost of the goods. So social cost of the goods, it is a controversial topic from the human rights perspective, because everyone has its own standards and preferences, parameters, and instruments to calculate the social cost of the goods. But it is a very interesting topic. And if we are able to calculate the social cost of goods, any good, we can practically resolve many of the problems. For example, uh, we can make our life much easier. So what is social cost? Social cost, it is neoclassical economics, is the sum of the private costs resulting from a transaction and the costs imposed on the consumers as a consequences of being exposed to the transactions for which they are not comprehend or charged. So this is the bookish definition of social cost. In other words, it is the sum of personal and external costs. So if someone asks you what is the social cost, you will say it is the sum of personal and external costs. Private costs refers to direct costs to the producer for producing the good or services. Social costs include these private costs and the additional costs or external costs associated with the production of good for which are not accounted by the free market. So this is the bookish definition of social cost. Now when I will explain you and I will give you different examples, you will understand what does it mean by a social cost. So social cost, let's calculate the social cost of you driving to your university. So let's see the petrol. You spend £5 or $5 on benzene, okay? But the social cost is $9 or £9. How? Because $5 is something which you spend on your benzene, but for this benzene to burn, you will do the conjunction, means machine will work, which is $2.5 or $2.50, and this petrol which will be burned inside the car will do the environmental damage or pollution of 1.5 pound or $1.5. So if we will calculate everything, the social cost will be $9. I mean, you spent only $5, but certain other things also happened, and the cost of those things, external cost, they will be included in your personal cost, and total cost will be your social cost. Did you understand? Did you get the idea?
Yes. Understandable.
Yeah.
For example, you bought a can of Coca-Cola. You bought a can of Coca-Cola in let's say 10,000 soms. You drank the Coca-Cola and you threw the Coca-Cola can. Now you have done environmental damage. You have polluted the environment also by throwing this can, which will cost 5,000 soms additionally. Also, when you drank this Coca-Cola, maybe this will cause a harm to your health, because Coca-Cola is not suitable for everybody. Yes. So this health cost, the damage to your health, it will be 20,000 soms. So the total social cost of Coca-Cola will be 10,000 of the Coca-Cola, 5,000 of the environment, and 20,000 of the health, in total 35,000 soms. Okay.
Okay.
Who is not okay? Who didn't understand?
I understood, but I think it is somehow very subjectively, how personal, yeah?
There are certain things which are unavoidable. For example, by eating something, you definitely do environmental damage. No one can deny from this fact. Yes. For example, you go on your Kurzinka and you will find there are number of fruits which are packed in plastic wrappers. Yes. And you could buy those fruits or vegetable without those plastic packings. These plastic packings, these are extra. These are lichni. And these plastic packs have no use, and you will just take your fruits and vegetables and you will throw this. Means you will do environmental damage. Yes. You cannot avoid this. A number of other examples I will give you. For example, smoking. Now read this. If you smoke, the private cost is £6 for a packet of 20 cigarettes. But there are also external costs to the society. For example, air pollution. When you smoke cigarette, you pollute the air. Yes. There are risks of passive smoking. Now, passive smoking means the other will also inhale this smoke. Yes, which will damage to their health. Litter from discarded cigarette butts means the pollution you will throw after smoking this, you will pollute your environment. There are health costs, and the social cost of smoking includes the total of all of these external costs and the private costs. Yes. So it is not only £6 of 20 packet cigarette, but it should also include the air pollution or the garbage and the health costs. Panyatna?
Yes, very clear.
And similarly, if you want to build an airport, for example, building of the airport, it will cost $1 billion. The private costs are cost of construction and airport, cost of paying workers to run an airport means the labor, and external costs are noise and air pollution to those living nearby. If you live in the airport area, you know that it is very noisy and there is air pollution. And there is a risk of an accident of those living nearby. Aeroplane can fall. It happened in 2017 in Bishkek. I was living in Bishkek and a Turkish airline airplane crashed when it flew from Manas airport, and it fall on the neighboring population and many people died. Yes. And loss of landscape means the beauty, the natural beauty will be destroyed when you will build an airport. Maybe there was a jungle, maybe there were mountains, and their beauty will be destroyed, which is also costly and it costs money. Yes. So for building an airport, you have to calculate the private costs and external costs. And all of this will call as social cost. Now, if it is not clear, I can give you some more example. If it is clear, I can continue.
It's clear.
It's clear.
Continue.
So what is the importance of social cost? Rational choice theory. Do you know rational choice theory?
Darwin.
No, it is not Darwin's theory. Rational choice theory means, in simple word, rationalness means logical, you can say in simple word. So when logical decision making, you can say, suggest individuals will only consider their private costs. For example, when we buy cigarette, we don't calculate pollution, health, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we just calculate 10,000 soms of our packet. That's it. We only calculate our private costs. So rational choice theory suggests that individuals will only consider their private costs. For example, if deciding how to travel, we consider the cost of petrol and time taken by the drive. However, we won't take into consideration the impact on the environment or congestion level for other members of the society. So when we are traveling, we calculate only the cost of benzene. We don't calculate the pollution. We don't calculate the cost on the others' health, the inconvenience created by us to the others, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, we just calculate our private cost. Therefore, if social costs significantly vary from the private cost, then we may get a socially inefficient outcome in free market. So I think it is clear that the social costs, they are significantly different from our private costs. And ultimately, the outcome in the free market is inefficient because we don't calculate our social costs. Who is following the point?
Garrett.
We are here.
So the marginal social cost, it is in terms of mathematics, the marginal social cost is the cost to the society of producing, consuming one extra unit of output. So you can see that social marginal cost, it is the combination of private marginal cost and external marginal cost. And by this formula, you can simply calculate the social marginal cost. And social efficiency or social efficiency, it is the optimal distribution of resources in a society, taking into account all external costs and benefits as well as internal costs and benefits. So if we want to say that some products are socially efficient, means what it is say socialny проектах и social products, especially from the government side, they calculate the social efficiency. So they not only calculate the private cost or the profit, they also calculate what will be the benefit to the society. So the social efficiency is the optimal distribution of resources in the society, taking into account all external cost and benefits as well as internal cost and benefits. So the social efficiency occurs at an output where marginal social benefits are equal to marginal social costs. So social cost, I told you how to calculate the social cost. Similarly, you can calculate the social benefits. So when the social benefits are equal to social cost, we can say that it is a social efficiency, or we have achieved the optimal distribution of resources in a society when the cost is equal to benefits. Social efficiency is closely related to the concept of Pareto efficiency. Pareto efficiency, a point where it is impossible to make anyone better off without making someone worse off. Have any one of you studied finance or economics? Or I don't know if in the Shkolna programma you had the calculation of Pareto efficiency, but you can Google about it later on. It is a economical concept. So for now you can just keep in your mind what is social cost, how to calculate social cost. We can calculate the social cost by summing up the private cost and external cost. And similarly, we talk about social benefit, we can sum up the private benefit and external benefits. And if social benefits and social cost, they are equal, we can say that we have the optimal distribution of resources, or we have achieved the social efficiency. Okay.
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 Good afternoon.
Who is this?
Good afternoon. It's Özkirbek.
Okay. Okay. So how culture can impact the cost? So, culture is a very sensitive topic. It is very difficult to define the culture. And this is a article. I have given the link. You can read it in your free time. It is about on the influence of cultural value on economic value. Can you give an example of a product which is not acceptable in your culture? You cannot do buying and selling of that product in your culture.
Cannabis.
I also wanted to say about
Drugs.
Yes, there are a number of products.
Drugs with bad consequences are prohibited in our country?
It is prohibited legally, but I am talking about culturally. Culturally, some products are not acceptable.
Pork meat, for example, or vodka even.
Yes, you can say pork also have religious reasons, vodka also have some religious reasons. Maybe, certain types of dresses, short dresses of girls
Yes,
are
yes.
not
Yeah, these kind
culturally
of dress
acceptable.
codes are also prohibited in our culture too.
Yes, there is no legal problem. There is no, legal, they are not legally banned, but culturally they are not acceptable.
Acceptable.
Yes. So we can say that the culture can also
But it doesn't influence on the price in our country.
it
So we are
influence
considered Muslim country. It doesn't influence anyhow.
it influence if something is culturally expensive in terms of it is not acceptable, its price will be high for the importer. Потому что никто не покупает, and if you order, it will cost you more because it is not a regular product. Because he will bring this product only for you, and for this purpose you have to pay a high amount of money. Yes.
Here, no, I don't know how it is in Pakistan,
May I
but
say how it influences? May I say how it influences?
we
For
have,
example,
and it's
for,
not very expensive. We have vodka,
no,
and we had short skirts for girls. In Uzbekistan, it is considered to be, I don't know how it's in English, светское государство, when religion doesn't influence somehow to the government. So in our country, it doesn't make any sense.
We can say that our country culture is divided into two groups, like people who are older, they just follow the rules of our culture, but the people, I mean the youngsters, don't like exactly follow the rules of culture. They respect our culture, but they also try to represent the European culture, the modern culture too.
Though I don't know about the specific examples, even though I know, but they are not appropriate to mention. But the point is that if the demand is low, if the demand is less, the price will be high if you want to import that product or if you want to buy that product. This is the simple formula. So
Yes.
if the
So
culture,
then I have a question. I know that in India it is prohibited to eat cow.
yes,
So is it possible to find the cow, and it will be very expensive, or it is impossible to find the cow on the market?
in certain part of the India you can eat cow. In certain provinces you cannot eat cow, and India is one of the biggest exporters of cow meats, and it is a legal case scenario. I am talking about the cultural impact on the society.
may I say as example? For example, it's a tradition in our country that girls' side, I mean, women's side should provide with should provide the furniture for the husband's house. That's why in our country, furniture is expensive.
Yeah, you can find number of examples in your surrounding where the law is clear, there is no legal restrictions, but just because of the culture you cannot buy, and if you want to buy it will cost you more money. So what is culture? How do you define culture? It is very difficult to define culture, and culture is something dynamic in nature. Today culture was different, tomorrow the culture will be different, and by the time you define the culture changes its parameter. For example, Uzbek culture, I am sure, is not as it was 200 years ago, because not lot many modern patches has been attached to the definition of Uzbek culture. And similarly, if we talk about Oriental culture, it itself is changed with the passage of time. The definition of classics have changed over the passage of time. So it is very difficult to define culture because it is very dynamic in nature, and we can usually define or give a ultimate definition to something which is static. And unfortunately, culture is not static, it changes with the time. So if we talk about culture and the attachment of humans with culture, we can say that we are puppets which are attached to the strings of our cultures. For example, Uzbek culture and Kazakh culture. You are the representative of Uzbek cultures, and many things you do just because you are Uzbek, or I do just because I am Pakistani. And these are the strings which are attached to our actions and our, representation in multicultural or international societies. We feel somehow proud to be the part of a certain culture, but in isolation, if we see on our own culture, our culture is not the same as it was 200 years ago because it has changed itself. For example, if we see the Pakistani culture, 60, 70 years ago, there was no Pakistan. And there were only small provinces. And we used to recognize ourselves, or we used to represent ourselves by showing the affiliation to our regions. And then Pakistan came, and now we recognize ourselves as Pakistanis. Similarly, in Uzbekistan, in Central Asia, many other parts of the world, your culture has changed over the period of time. But the interesting thing is that when the member of one culture goes to another society, in another culture, he considered as a foreigner. No matter how much standardized his dressing or lifestyles are, he is still considered as a foreigner. For example, I am a Pakistani. I wear European clothes. I wear pant, shirt, suit. In Uzbekistan, people speak English. People speak. I am sure that my Russian language, my reading, writing, and speaking is much better than many Uzbek and Kyrgyz people. And I wear the same clothes, but when I am in Uzbekistan, I am considered as a foreigner, and people are not willing to accept me as one of their own just because I belong to a different culture. But if I ask them what is Uzbek culture, it is very difficult for them to define as well, because Uzbek culture is not the same as it was 200 years ago. Did you understand the idea?
Yes.
Yes.
What is
Absolutely.
the, sorry? Did you want to
I
say?
said absolutely.
So today's culture and the culture of 1700s are different, even though they are Uzbek culture, but Uzbek culture of 1700 is totally different from the Uzbek culture of 21st century. And this is the question, that are there good cultures or bad cultures? Many people say yes, many people say no. Many people think that some cultures are good and some cultures are bad. And in Central Asia, I have spent a lot of time in different Central Asian countries. I know that you have different types of superstitions about different cultures. For example, for example, you say that adin sto yuvri umirayuti adin tatar rajayat, something like this. Yes, you have heard this around you, people saying that they have negative connotations attached to the Jews people or Tatar peoples, and we have this in our mind that they are very clever, even though they are not, or they are, I don't know. But we have an impression of different cultures being good or bad. Similarly, Asians have some superstitions about European nationalities, and Europeans definitely have some superstitions about Asian cultures and Asian people. And this is all because what we have been listening from previous couple of centuries. And this is all because of our interaction with the people inside our own culture. regardless we had interactions with the opposite cultures or not, we just made our mind about different cultures being good or bad. Yes?
Yep.
Or
But,
you are not following what I'm saying?
may I give my point?
Yes, yes.
I got what you wanted to say.
I think our understandings and some feelings and emotions about some particular nation are based on some particular people. I think we imagine the nation of the German is somehow cruel or like this. In spite of Hitler.
Yes.
And
I am
we shouldn't do
absolutely
this.
agree with your point that we make assumptions or based on the sample, which is usually a poor sample, we generalize. If we meet some bad people from a certain nationality, we make an opinion about everyone in that nationality. Yes.
Yes, yes.
So anyways, it is also a sensitive topic, and if you will dig deep more into this, then we will have conflict, we will have arguments, you will have your opinion, I will have my own opinion. But I delivered my message that our assumptions are something which are dangerous sometimes when it comes to make a generalized opinion about a group of people or about a culture, but we usually do this. So different cultures and different moral codes. We also think that yesterday you were discussing in the group and I sent a book, The Elements of the Moral Philosophy by James Richardson, and I asked you to read the first 4 chapters. It is very interesting discussion there about cultural relativism. And these stories are from that book I have taken. And it says that different cultures have different moral codes. We usually think that Russian people, they have different moral standards. They think, many Asian people think that the Russian people, some things which are bad for you, they are good for them. Some things which are good for you, the Russian people think that they are bad for them. Yes. So we have these types of things in our mind. So our general understanding is that different cultures have different moral codes. And there is a very interesting story which is mentioned in this book, which I sent yesterday. It is from Herodotus, who wrote the book Historia in pre-Socratic, in Socratic period. And in this book, it mentions a story that there was a king. There was a king, and king asked from different people about the treatment of their dead people, that when the people die, how do they treat? And you can read this story, but I am just telling you my own version of this story. You know, when Muslim dies, when Muslim people die, what we do? What we do? We bury them in the ground. Yes, we open a grave and we bury them. Hello.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes,
yes. That's right.
And Hindus, what do? Hindus, they burn their dead bodies. Yes. And
yes.
there is a religion which is called as Parsi. They throw the dead body of their dead person on a mountain, and different birds and animals, they eat its body, and they consider that the nature has taken back the dead body. So if the birds or the animals, they eat it, they think that it has been taken by the nature back. And there is a group of people, Gorkhas, usually you find them in Nepal and in certain part of India. So when the dead person die, the family eat up the dead body of the dead person, and they think that it is better that this dead person should become the part of our body rather than we burn it or give it to the birds or bury it into the ground. So everyone has its own logic, and everyone has its own understanding and rituals, and everyone is right from his own perspective. Because everyone has its own logic. The Muslim think that we should bury it in the ground so that it become the part of the ground, and in the day of judgment it should rise from the ground. And Hindu burns that Hindu thinks that the elements, all the elements in the human body should become the part of the nature. And the Gorkhas, they eat the body of the dead person by saying that it should become the part of their bodies. And the Parsis who throw the bodies on the mountain, saying that the animals and the birds should eat this body so that it should become the part of the other natural bodies. So everyone is right. Everyone has its own logic.
Yes.
Yes.
Why you say so much slow? Yes, like you are dead.
Because our
No, we
microphones
are
are switched off.
expecting you to end your point.
So I made my point.
So after this, we say yes.
I made my point that you cannot judge. Yes, you cannot judge because everyone has its own logic. And you know, Eskimos who live on North America and Greenland or North Pole in a cold weather, yes, it is common that they can kill the female babies, and there is no social stigma attached to it if you kill the female baby, because the female baby is a burden on the family. She cannot survive the harsh environment, the cold, and she cannot contribute to the family because she is weak. So when the female baby borns, they simply kill the female baby, and no social stigma attached to it. No one say it is bad.
So in this way, how will they reproduce themselves in 20 years? If they kill all female babies.
Some female survives. They calculate. And also in the Eskimos, when there is free relationship between male and female, free relationships are common in many cultures, but in certain cultures, when a guest come in the house, it is a normal practice for the female to offer herself to the guest as an offering, and there is no social stigma attached to it. But in certain culture, it is not acceptable. Yes. So
Excuse me, serving guests, you mean for night?
yes.
Oh my God.
So you can say, oh my God, but from the other perspective, it is a normal practice, and they think that it is, they are being more hospitable to their guests. So everyone has its own logic, and we usually consider that our moral code is somehow superior to the other moral codes, and our culture is much better to the other culture. And who is sending me messages into the chat? Please don't send message in the chat. If you have to say something, speak out. For example, look at this picture. You have seen this many times. The lady here in the bikini thinks that this lady in the burqa, she is being persecuted by the males of the society, and the lady in burqa thinks that this girl is being mistreated by her society. So by looking at the external appearance of both of these females, they had made opinion about each other, but both of them, they have their own logic, and both of them, they are right from their own perspective. So in that book which I sent you, you will read the theory of cultural relativism. What does it say? Theory of cultural relativism, Vnimania. Attention, please. Different societies have different moral codes. There is no objective standard that can be used to judge one social code is better than the other. The moral code of our society has no special status. It is merely one among many, means there are many moral codes and our moral code is one of them. It is not special. There is no universal truth in ethics. There are no moral truth that holds for all people at all the times. The moral code of the society determines what is right within the society. Means if something is good in your society, it is good in your society. Don't think that it should be good in the other society as well. Something is right or wrong only for your people. Don't think that it should be right or wrong for the other people as well, because it is your moral code. It is mere arrogance for us to try to judge the conduct of other people. So based on your own moral code, if you judge the other people, you are arrogant. We should adopt an attitude of tolerance towards the practices of other cultures. Means we should be patient, we should tolerate the practices of other cultures. We shouldn't judge by saying that they are right or they are wrong. This is the theory of cultural relativism. And opposite to this theory is the concept of universalism. So there is theory of cultural relativism which says that no culture is superior to each other. There is no moral code which is superior to other moral code. Everyone has its own right and wrongs. Everyone has its own parameter of judging rights and wrong within their society. And you shouldn't compare your moral code with other moral codes. This is called as theory of cultural relativism. And opposite to this is theory of universalism, which is also mentioned in that book. So how many of you support the theory of cultural relativism?
I totally agree with this theory.
I support.
I partly
I
agree
totally
because I
agree
don't
with
know.
this,
The universalism theory is about common happiness. Do you mean this theory?
No, I mean not common happiness, but
That
universal.
we should sacrifice with the minority for common happiness. Do you mean this theory?
No. Universalism is a concept that some idea have universal application.
General ideas.
Yes, it is a belief of fundamental truth. Means you can say that human rights are universal. Like human rights, they are universal. Like right to food, right to education, right to health, they are the moral code of every society. They should be everywhere. Yes, right of education, it is the moral code of every society. So the human rights are universal. Ladna, let's continue. So intercultural competences. I told you some of the problems that we face in understanding different cultures. And there are two problematic issues. Culturalization means when we try to look another culture through the prism of our culture, when we see the other people with our own moral standards. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we want other people to be like you. And the culturalization is the process of adopting the one cultural environment. For example, I come to Uzbekistan and I start adopting the Uzbek culture. It's mean I am doing the process of culturalization. I try to follow the Uzbek values. I try to follow the Uzbek behaviors. So it's mean that I am doing culturalization. My culturalization is happening. And the other thing is technological misunderstanding. Sometimes I have some techniques and instruments or technologies which are not familiar by the other society, and I use those technology. That's why I am different. And that's why we cannot have an intercultural competence. That's why people are unwilling to accept me, because I am using different technologies. For example, I am wearing a different dress. Dress is a technology, for example. and this dress is not acceptable in another culture. So it's mean that people will not accept me just because I am using a different dressing technology. So this is an illustration that there is a scenario of where you are greeting different people. So you want to shake hand, but other person don't want to shake hand. And this lady has entered into the private zone of this boy, which is very common in many cultures, but in many cultures it is not acceptable. And this person, he doesn't want to shake hand, but it is common to shake hand in other cultures. So by looking at this picture, you can see that if we have no understanding of the other culture, we may have superstitions, or we can feel ourselves that the second person has not given us due respect. Yes, if you shake hand and the other person doesn't shake hand, we can think that this person didn't give us due respect, but it is his culture and he is simply not following your culture. Did you understand?
Yes, understandable.
So you will see these maps, and this is different types of superstitions. For example, the word according to the Americans, they think that all the Russians, they are communists, and Kazakhstan, they know because of the Borat movie, and Chinese, they think that it is supermarket, and India, it is curry, and Central Asia, they don't know about individual Central Asias. They think that these are just stans, different types of, including Iran. And in Africa, they think that it is full of AIDS. So these are different types of superstitions. This is Africa according to the USA. Different types, different parts of the Africa. In the South Africa, they think that it is full of diamonds. Yes, and other part is AIDS. And this is the Asia according to the USA. They think that the Pakistan is Al Qaeda. Apparently, it has nothing to do with the Al Qaeda. And the Afghanistan, they think that it is Vietnam, but the war was in Vietnam, not in Afghanistan. So, did you understand the concept of culture and our understanding of culture and our superstitions? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yes. So now I'm coming to the sale of goods and human needs. You know, there is a difference between need and wants and demands. It is not only the linguistic difference, there is a practical difference as well. Need is the state of felt deprivation of some basic satisfaction. For example, water is our need, food is our need. Wants are desires for a specific satisfier of these deeper needs. What you want? I want this dress, I want this car, I want this university to study in. These are our wants. And demands are for specific products that are backed up by an ability and willingness to buy them. Means you demand certain things based on your wants and needs, or regardless of your needs, it is just your demand. So the difference is clear.
Can we refer quality?
What?
Can we refer quality here?
Quality?
Mm-hmm.
Where is written
Does
quality?
demand include quality? Quality of the product.
It is your own understanding of your own demand. It is a subjective understanding. The point which I'm trying to make here is that the needs and wants and demands are different. Or you can say that you cannot survive without needs, but you can survive without demands and wants. And everyone has its own demands and everyone has its own needs and wants based on your own individual preferences. For some people, quality does matter. For some people, quality doesn't matter. For example, some people are willing to spend thousands of dollars on their costume, and some people they simply go to the charsu and buy a costume. I have a very expensive costume which I bought from a brand, Turkish brand. And I also have a costume which I bought from the Charsu Bazaar in, I think, 600,000 soms, like $60. And whenever I wear this $60 costume, people appreciate it more than my Turkish branded costume, which is much more expensive than this. So, but some people they go and buy only from brands because it is their demand. And some people they are conscious about quality, some people are not conscious about quality. So everyone has its own demands and wants and needs. But the point which I am trying to make clear is that these are different things. And this is something which you have studied, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you have any idea about this?
No, I haven't heard about it.
No, I don't.
It should be in your school program. So it is a psychology.
I saw it earlier.
Yes, it is a
That
psychology.
a person can satisfy his needs before he pass all these steps. I mean, self-actualization, your cultural needs, yeah, your spiritual needs, you won't reach if you, for example, hungry at the moment. So step by step, you should reach them.
Yes, to a certain extent. But Maslow's hierarchy of need is an idea in psychology. It was proposed by Abraham Maslow in 1943. He wrote a very famous paper, A Theory of Human Motivation. So basically, he's talking about motivation. He says that, first of all the humans, they want to fulfill their psychological needs. What is our psychological need? Our psychological need is air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. These are our basic psychological needs. Without this, we will die. Yes. And when we achieve these psychological needs, we have our safety needs. For example, personal security, employment, resources, health, property. These comes at a second level. And when we achieve our safety needs, then we have our love and belonging needs. We do friendships, intimacy, we make family, we feel sense of connection. And when we achieve this, then we have our esteem, respect, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. Yes. We come into politics to fulfill our esteem. We want other people to recognize us that we are something. And after that, we have our self-actualization, which is desire to become the most that one can be. Have you ever thought that the people who have billions of dollars, like top 10, yesterday there was a news that Elon Musk is the richest person with more than $150 billion. And he has beaten the founder of Amazon, and Amazon's founder is the second richest man on the planet, and Bill Gates and blah, blah, blah. And all of these are the top 10 richest people. Have you ever thought that why they are in a race to be number one? Because they are in a race to do their self-actualization. It is the matter of their esteem. Yes. Otherwise, they can survive on $1 billion. So Maslow's hierarchy of need says that, first of all, we want our basic needs, air, water, food. When we have this, then we go for jobs. When we have jobs, then we marry. When we marry, then we want to become politician. We want to become more, better in our jobs. We want to become director. We want to become president. And then we want to become only one at the self-actualization stage. So this is the hierarchy of our needs, that our needs, becomes more and more with the passage of time. Did you understand this idea?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I I remember that I didn't have a cycle when I was in when I was in Shkole. Then I used to say to my father that buy me a cycle, and my father bought me a cycle. And when I, you know, graduated from college, I wanted to buy a motorcycle, and I asked my father to buy me a motorcycle. And after motorcycle, I had cars, different cars. Now also I have a car and a motorcycle in my garage, and I want to buy another car which is much better than this car. It's mean that my needs have become, my needs are becoming more and more with the passage of time. Yes, and it happens with you as well. And it is Maslow's hierarchy of need.
Yeah.
In
I guess
yes,
it's not your needs. I guess it's your wants, maybe.
yes, wants, needs, or demands, or whatever. But uh, in like 10 years ago, I was willing to teach. I started my teaching career by teaching as a volunteer in a university, free of cost. I taught in a university for free of cost without any money. And this was my entry into the academic world. And then I become lecturer, assistant professor, senior lecturer, professor. And now I am in different universities. I am teaching, and I want to, become more and more and more. And everyone in your own self has certain needs, demands, and desires which increase with the passage of time. And this is exactly what Maslow's hierarchy of need is. So let's look into this, and I have given the link also. You can study this. That there are our basic needs. Basic needs are our psychological and safety needs, and then we have our psychological needs, and then we have self-fulfillment needs. So our basic needs are our food, water, rest, etc., security and safety. And our psychological needs are that we should have a husband or wife or friends, and people should appreciate what we are doing. And then there is self-fulfillment, that we want to become president or we want to become a parliamentarian, so that people can recognize us and I can feel, self-fulfillment. So this is the Maslow's hierarchy. And if you you know dissect it into different level, so the microsystem and mesosystem and macro systems. In the microsystems, personal, individuals, and psychological factors, they design our basic needs. And in mesosystem, the group, organizations, relational factors, and social networks also, they make our, these psychological needs, which, for example, you want to have a family, you want to have a husband and wife. It is not your basic need, but it is your psychological need that you need a company. And similarly, if we go on the micro level, the cultural, historical, structural factors, the word system theory means how the world is being run. These systems force you to do your self-actualization or self-fulfillment needs. Means you want to become president, or you want to become prime minister, or you want to become a politician, to fit into this macro system level. And here you can see, if we will look the same scenario in the company perspective, you can see inside the company there are employers and clients, and then there is a market segment and firm which is in the industry. And nowadays we have a macro system of e-commerce. That e-commerce means globalized market. We are all part of the globalized economic system which is run by e-commerce and the technology. And these are the different levels of analysis if we want to do the analysis. For example, interpersonal level, what makes your needs? It makes your preferences, knowledge, your age and health. At certain level of your age, you have different demands, and different factors impact on your needs at interpersonal level. Then your social life and your community life, and at your macro level, your public policy where the government interferes, all of these things, they are interconnected, and all of these things, they are somehow the reflection of Maslow's hierarchy of need. Did you understand?
Absolutely.
And this is the different level of analysis if we want to analyze different global phenomena. For example, on domestic level, we have nationalism, different ethnic conflicts, democracy, dictatorship, political parties, gender, and different sort of issues. At interstate level, we have balance of power, wars, treaties, trade agreements. These are all things which shape our demands at interstate level. At global level, we have north-south gap, means rich-poor gap, different regions, UN, European imperialism, religious fundamentalism, terrorism, world environment, technological changes, all of these things which shape the demands at global level. So these are different levels of analysis if you zoom out and look at a bigger picture. And the level of analysis, individual level, individual needs, individual businesses, domestic or state or societal level, and interstate level or regional level, and global level. These are different level of analysis of anything. And look at this, the hate and sales of weapons. I have dissected the hate and sales of weapon. How the weapons are sold in international market. Vnimania, how the weapons are sold. Look at the Maslow's hierarchy. All of you have biases and stereotypes about each other. Means Muslims have biases about non-Muslims. Non-Muslims have biases about Muslims. Muslims have biases towards Jews. Jews have biases towards Palestinians. Armenia and Azerbaijan have biases based on Nagorno-Karabakh. Turkish and Armenian and Syrian and blah, blah, blah. So all of these biases, they influence on our personality, and we have individual acts of prejudice, means we start bullying, radicalize. If we saw a Jew on the street, we just don't like him. If a black person is walking on a street, we don't like him because we are white, and we maybe try to push him just because he's black. And then we have discriminations, and all of these biases, they motivate the violence. We have murders, rapes, assaults, threats on individual levels, on domestic levels, on interstate levels, on global level. And extreme of this is genocide, when you start hating an ethnic group, like Hitler killed thousands of Jews, and other genocides which happened in different parts of the world. So you can see that how it started from individual biases, and then it came into the level of extremes, which is the genocide. And this is how the weapons are sold. Hello?
Yeah, we are here.
We are here. We got you.
Yes, I agree with it.
And if we talk about poverty and sale of goods, this is the poverty cycle, and you will search about it later. And this is a book, Confession of Economic Hitman. And I want to show you the latest version of this. Can you see this? I have this book with me.
Yeah, we can see.
I keep it on my table among other books. And the Confession of Economic Hitman is a very interesting book in which it shows Vunimania that how the America gives debts to the smaller countries by using different international financial organizations like IMF and World Bank. So what happens? They come and they say that давайте вам строим новые дороги, да? And государство says that we don't have money. They say that, okay, money is not a problem. Take loan from us. Take these $2 billion and make your roads. So when you make the new road and you have taken the loan, Now for these roads, you need cars also, because these roads are not for the carts, they are for cars. So they will export cars and you will import cars. And when you will import cars, you will import benzene. When you will import benzene, then you will import certain more things, the spare parts of the cars. Then you will need people who will travel in these cars. Then the McDonald's will come and KFC will come and people will start eating in McDonald's and KFC. Then the international organization, the UN or OBCE, and they will come and they will start giving jobs to your people. Then the Westminster will open a new faculty, and the Webster will come, and the other blah 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 British University will come, and they will start educating your people. And the graduates of this university, they will think that they are croupier. They will not eat shorpo, or they will not eat khleb. They will only eat KFC, and they only eat the McDonald's. Their life standards will increase, and the government will take more and more loans to fulfill the demands of their populates. And there will be a time when these organizations, they will know that this country cannot pay back their debt. The country will be in so much in debt that the donors will know that this country is unable to pay their debt back. And then they will come to you and they will say to the Uzbekistan that now we know that you cannot give our debt back, but we know that you have this mountain where is Nift, or we know that you have this land where is Zolata, or we know that you have this land which is very fertile because of cotton. So you cannot give our debt back, just give us this land to minus your debt. And this is how they will occupy on your land. And this is mentioned in this book, because this person was working for CIA, for American government, and he wrote this book in his Confessions of Economic Hitman. And he said that how the big governments do this debt trap diplomacy. Nowadays, you know that many things are happening from the sides of Chinese. Chinese are also doing this. Chinese go to a company and country and give them the loan, increase their expenditures, and when they think that this country is unable to pay back their debt, they take their natural resources or the lands or some other things from them. So this is called as capital imperialism, and this type of diplomacy is called as debt trap diplomacy. And the most interesting thing what is mentioned in this book, he said that когда государство признает that how these people are robbing us, or how these people are trying to occupy our land, and например, one president takes a stand or politicians start speaking against them, they send a hitman, they send killers, and they kill this person, they kill this president or kill this prime minister or kill this politician who speak against this or who tries to expose them. And this happened in number of Latin American countries, and he mentioned them in this book. Did you understand?
Yes. Also, I have used this book in writing my midterm exams, and I will recommend to read this book, because this book will extend your horizons.
So society and branded goods. Do you know this, Natalia? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Didn't hear your question.
What is this called?
Коляска. On English, I don't know.
Коляска, vehicle, no?
Baby, let's say it baby cart, okay? So, do you know how much this cost? It is a couple of €1,000. This, okay?
Depends on the brand.
Yes. and on the left side it is the natural way of carrying a baby. But mama ni vidit na ulit se pakash to net votokoi kliaska, because it is the matter of her status. Yes.
Depends on mama.
No, in general. And the companies
Yes.
they know that, and the companies they know that how to exploit them, and they do marketing, which we were discussing yesterday. Yes. And
Yes, they will show their product with the high
yeah.
status people,
Yes,
and
yes,
high status
yes,
people will buy it. Yeah.
yes, yes. So this is how the sale of branded goods happen. Although Nikes are also same as any other good boot, good shoes, handmade, hand stitched Uzbek shoes. But we like to buy Nike, Adidas, or Hang Ten, or Gucci, or Prada, or whatsoever. So it is a combination of your biological processes, socio-economical processes, and cognitive processes. Biology also impact on the sale of goods. For example, you know these girls, you know these shoes, this brand. Hello.
Yes, we know.
This is the a French fashion designer. This person, Christian Louboutin, I don't know the exact pronunciation. Who, if you read the story, that how he designed this, he designed the sole of these ladies' shoes with red colors. Yes. And he said that I was sitting and I took the lipstick of one of my female colleagues, and I I painted the sole of the shoes with the red lipstick, and I thought it is a joke. Kak prikol tha. But later when he saw that it was very beautiful, and he started his own brand, and this brand is famous because the sole of the shoes is red. So this is something which is the novelty of these types of shoes. So I will take you to this shop. This is the online store, and let me show you the prices of some of the products. So
But he's popular not only for the red sole, but for his very high heels, which, by the way, are very not comfortable.
So the starting price of this is 1,000 euros. 1,000 euros on their store. You can later buy if you want to buy. So red is colder than the black, and the idea comes from here. The this henna. The girls use this for.
Yep.
Yes, we know.
Yes. So the idea is that in India and Pakistan, when the girls marry, on the wedding, they color their hands and their feet with this henna. And the palms of the hands and the female feet, they are those parts which usually boys they don't have access to. Means the boys, they rarely see the hands, the palms of the hands and the palms of the feet. Yes. And when a boy looks at the palm of the feet of a girl, and if it is red, it it causes certain types of emotions inside a boy. Malchiki vi minia panimaya da.
The
So
Attract.
Fetishists.
so this person, he actually cracked this code, and he used a biological concept, чисто биологический concept, to design these shoes. And the girls, they know that these shoes are very attractive because of these characteristics. Kakruta da.
Yeah, he's so smart designer.
So,
Yeah, very.
so you can see,
Это просто совпадение.
Natalia, you shouldn't speak. It is Mijdo Nami between boys. Boys are discussing here. You should just you should just
Okay,
listen.
silence.
Sexism.
You should just listen. So the point which I am trying to make is that this person, he actually cracked a biological code and he used biology for the sale of good. And he became very successful, yes. And now he's making millions of dollars. And if we talk about chemotherapy, we know that different colors have impact on our lives. Red color and the black color and the white color, and certain people, they paint their rooms with different colors because apparently it impact on your health. And it is true also. Chemotherapy is a science and it is being used. And this yin and yang, which balance your life, the Chinese or the Asian famous concept that how you should balance your yin and yang. And a number of products are available in market which balance your yin and yang. And similarly, if we talk about the aroma or the smell, the perfumes is $1 billion industry, and different types of perfumes are available and people are making money of it. And this is all, all of these things, they are related to our social value. The social value is the quantification of the relative importance that people place on changes they experience in their lives. For example, if you come out with this baby card, which is branded, and you have spent 3,000 euros, you will feel more confidence. Mama will consider herself krutaya because she has 3,000 euros this, and if she's wearing these red soul Christian Louboutin shoes, her confidence level will be very high. Or even boys, if you are wearing a very good branded costumes, your confidence level is much more higher as compared to someone who is wearing a Japan. Or if you are traveling in a very expensive car, you will feel yourself very confident. So social value does matter, and people know this, and market know this, and marketing strategies are based to make you realize the importance of social value of certain things. And when it comes to the marketing, they target these things. The marketing is done by targeting these points. They play with your emotions, they play with your biology, they play with your sentiments, they play with your social preferences. They can manipulate your standards, yes, and they know very well what they are doing. For example, L'Oreal, now Natalia can speak. The brand, and this brand very well. In Uzbekistan also you can find this French company which mostly produce the personal care products for females, yes. So they introduced the hijabs and the products for Muslim females when they realized that Muslim females are not buying the products made for other females. Because of the hijab bans and blah, 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 what happens in France in previous years, I will not go into this detail. But the thing is that there was a conflict between Muslim people and the French government. And then the companies realized that the Muslims are a very big market. So they offered a targeted product for them. And even Nike has introduced these sportswear only for Muslim female because they know that it is a big market. Yes, Muslims are a big part of the world and they buy these products, so they cannot lose their market. And instead of losing market, they have introduced the personalized or customized products for them. So does society
Actually,
define?
hijab is becoming trend, you know?
Hmm?
Like more girls are choosing hijab because it's becoming trend because of social network. Like most famous people are wearing hijab. It's like fashion, you know, now.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is happening, but the point is that the companies, they don't lose any money. They don't lose any chance of making any money. Where from wherever they
Yes,
can.
these brands are considering hijab like, and that's why like more young girls are choosing to wear hijab now. There's the influence.
So does society defines if goods are defective or not? The drinking and smoking syndrome, very famous. In certain part of the world, if you go to the Germany, in Germany after 5 o'clock, you will see that everyone is walking on the street and holding a beer bottle in his hand. Everyone, everyone
Mm-hmm.
on the street. And it is a normal socially acceptable phenomena in certain part of the world. The boys, the youngsters, the teenagers, they smoke, they drink, and parents, they know about this and they consider that it is perfectly fine. But in certain part of the world, it is not acceptable. So the smoking or the coffee or the tea or the beer, it has a social value also. It brings people together. For example, Kagdawasi Spiririf Narobote, or in the university, you go out for smoking. So cigarette brings people together and the coffee brings people together, yes. But certain part of the world, they don't feel that it is good. For example, this is shisha. I don't know what you call it in Uzbekistan.
Kalyan.
Kalyan. Kalyan is common. I mean, I lived 1 year in Lebanon. I was studying in Lebanon. I was doing my master's in human rights in Lebanon. And it was my routine to go with my friend who was the program director. And we used to do the lunch together. And after the lunch, we would, every day, we would smoke shisha and coffee. And they drink this coffee, which is very small, espresso, small shots, coffee shots. And as I was living there, and I became addicted to the shisha and the shots of the coffee because it was common. But in Pakistan, the shisha is banned. And if you provide shisha, the police will come and arrest you. The restaurant will have to pay the penalties because it is prohibited. So it's mean that the society define what is good or bad. For example, smartphones, for certain people it is good, for certain people it is bringing distances between different peoples, and people are losing their relationship values just because of the smartphones. And number of studies are available on internet which shows the negative impact of social media on your relationship. This is not new. We had these social groups. People felt their attachments with them in past as well. For example, rock and roll culture. You wanted to be affiliated with them and want to be the part of the rock and roll family. And if you are one of them or following the trends, you are krutoi. And at that point also, the people were not in the favor of them. They were thinking that they are exploiting the youngsters. Or nowadays, these people, emo cultures, you can find one or two in every university. I have a couple of students of mine, and this community respects me a lot, not because I am an emo, just because I give them the legal advice regular basis. And these people use certain products, and these products are banned in certain communities. The buying and selling of these emo cloths or gadgets or the bands, it is prohibited in different societies. But in certain societies, people feel proud if they have these kind of bands and other symbols to show their affiliation with the emo society, and people feel proud of being an emo. Similarly, if we talk about preferences and standards. You can see number of people are protesting in Europe, different campaigns of vegetarianism, and people come out of streets and do something like this. You can see that you know, they have different types of gestures to show to the world that how much cruel is it to do the buying and selling of chicken and meat products, and different types of symbolisms are being used to record their protests. And this is all about our standard preferences and beliefs. Different people have different standards. Here you can see that they have done a protest, sitting protest in a pig farm, and they wanted to give a message to the public that eating meat and buying and selling and harvesting pigs for cultivating their meat is not useful for the mankind, because their standards, preferences and beliefs are different from those who actually buy this. Why I am speaking too much? I need
It's good, you know.
I need break. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me bring water. I became too much emotional.
Okay. No, I think vegetarians shouldn't drive the cars because oil million years ago was the animal. I mean, animals became the oil by the centuries. That's why if vegetarians are try to protect the animals, they shouldn't drive a car. What do you think?
What about electro cars?
Okay, what about the soap and fiber? I mean, the soap and fiber is also oil made.
Okay, so the
There are
corporate
some
social
synthetic soap.
responsibility.
They are generally against the oil, not detailed version.
The corporate social responsibility and sale of good. The corporate social responsibility is that the company should not think only about its own profit. The company should be responsible towards the people who are working inside the company and towards the society. So this concept has emerged, which is called as corporate social responsibility. And you can read this article as well. These are the top 10 donor NGOs. Vunimania, I am telling you a very important point. So
Okay.
these are some of the companies, top donor organizations. You can read this article later. And marketing the Muslim women, hijabs and the modest fashions are the new corporate trends in Trump era. I told you different examples. And this is an article by Oria Makbul Jan. He's a Pakistani civil servant. Now he has become a journalist. He wrote this very interesting article. Just read this article. So the summary is, Vunimania, the summary is the point he's making. He says that когда девушки говорят, что им нужен hijab, they will cover their face. The human rights activists, they start protesting that, see, this part of the word, девушки до сих пор они носят бурка, and they will come on the street and they will start crying and they will start claiming the rights of the female to cover its body. Yes? Hello?
I think it depends on ethnic. It depends on ethnic because someone.
It happens in Europe, it happens in Asia, it is happening all over the world that women rights activists are claiming rights of women. Some of them, they are legitimate rights, and some of them, they are just blah, blah, blah. Even though I am a human rights activist, I have formally studied human rights and I am very big supporter of feminism. and not only feminism, but all the people who wants their group rights or individual rights, I support them. But I support the legitimate rights, I mean, which I think are legitimate. But the point which I'm trying to make is that when a girl says that I want to cover my body, basically she is denying the use of all of these beauty products and dresses and you know, L'Oreal and Nike and Adidas and blah blah blah. Because if you cover your face, apparently you will use less beauty products as compared to the lady who goes out with not with her face not covered. Similarly, it goes with the ladies who wear burqa, that they will prefer the use of non-branded clothes as compared to a lady which goes out and she needs branded clothes. Is it like this, Yatatak?
Yes, I agree with it. But no, nowadays, girls with hijab even use some cosmetic products, and by this they attract
yes, all of them.
Other people. I think yes, it's a bit confusing because hijab's purpose is not attract male, but
let's not go into the purpose of hijab. Let's stay here.
Yes, okay.
Let's stay at this point that the burqa or hijab or the female, let's conclude it like this. With this line I am concluding. If a female will be restricted, she will use less beauty products, and if she will use less beauty products, it will be a direct blow to the billion-dollar industry which is producing these beauty products and dresses and perfumes and blah blah blah. Yes?
Absolutely, I think so.
Actually. It's opposite actually, I think, because the women who actually wear hijab, they use more cosmetic products and they wear very brandy clothes. But it depends actually their financial side. But in Uzbekistan, most most girls who come from rich families, they are choosing to wear hijab. That's why it's vice versa.
Okay, but the Oriya Makbul Jan in his article, he claims that if girls, they will start wearing hijab or burqa, they will use less beauty product and it will be a blow to the multi-billion-dollar industry which produce dresses and clothes and shoes and blah, blah, blah. So these multi-billion-dollar industry, they give money to the NGOs so that these NGOs can go out and protest for the rights of women. And they can claim that they take money from these industries and use this money to do propaganda that the girls should be free, they should come out and they should express their bodies and they should, claim their rights and they should be everywhere. Did you understand the correlation?
Yes, understandable.
Yep.
So this is not what I am saying. This is not what I am saying. This is what these scholars are claiming, and it is up to you if you become agree or not. It is up to you. I am not taking sides. I told you my personal opinion about this. So the fourth generation of human rights, which we discussed yesterday, and we started with the consumer rights. And now it has become clear that how the consumer rights are important, not only from the business perspective, but from the political perspective as well. And as a small portion, environmentalism and sale of good. For example, the toilet paper, it comes from the tree, and the trees, are being destroyed to produce toilet paper. And this is a product which is unavoidable. and it has direct consequences on the environment, and people can protest. There are other products which are coming from the environment, and environmentalists, they have their own convictions. Environmentalists, they have their own understanding of the use and misuse of those products, and they claim that we are destroying our environment by producing these products, and that's why we should stop producing these products. Similarly, you have seen this GMO free food become very famous inside Central Asia, that people started preferring GMO free food. And it is expensive. I don't know what are the benefits and positive and negatives of the GMO food, but many people, they are willing to pay some extra money if the vegetables are GMO free, or they are so-called natural. If we talk about technology and sale of goods, yesterday I talked about how the blockchain is helping in different areas, and technology is promoting human rights. On the other side, many people think that it is violating human rights, and this is a sketch which I made for you by summarizing everything what we discussed today. That some things happened at biological level, like this red color, it was biological. It affects on your cognitive level, and that affects on your psychological level, which is interpreted into your individual and behavior level. And this individual level is related to your social level, then state level, regional level, global level, and universal level. So you can see that how something which started inside one individual on very small level, on a subcell level, on biological level, can impact on universal level. So this was it.
Excuse me. You said that toilet paper made by the trees, yes, but now, as I know, there is a synthetic material which is called cellulose. I don't know in English.
Cellulose is also from
cellulose. Yes, it's tree-free material, and manufacturers prefer that because of eco-activists, as you said.
Yes.
That's why toilet paper is cheaper now than it was before.
These are just for the sake of examples. Yes, these are just examples.